The Olympics officially over, so we make the transition to the NBA new season. Really, the schedule has come out. I saw that NBA.com put out a list of every free agent deal and extension and trade for all 30 teams, and I was like, I do not wish that having to type that up on anybody.
Oh, what do you mean? Some people love that, though. You get into the X's and O's, nitty gritty.
That's so much work. I guess. Oh, yeah, no, Hawks. Yeah, like even the Hawks thing is that's so for the Hawks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 things you have to write about. Oof.
I mean,
That's
look,
a lot, man.
You got to think too. You're working on it as it goes. As some of these moves go, it's the few surprises here and there, but either way.
Listen, I'm gonna hit the big ones here. We're gonna talk about Murray leaving. We're gonna talk about Sadiq Bey leaving. We'll talk about Larry Nance coming to the team, and maybe we'll hit Cody Zeller, and we can call it a day. You know,
what, you got no love for the two-way guys?
Nah, man, we don't need to do that. Like, we're not trying to go that deep in this generalized NBA offseason deal. Nobody cares that Sam Hauser agreed to a 4-year extension.
Sam Hauser just won a title. We can't slander Sam.
I'm taking shots. I'm taking my shots at Boston right now. Either way, we're obviously going to talk about the NBA schedule coming out. We'll do a little recap of the Olympics, what we think, and obviously hit some Ballin and Fallin, and do a little Immaculate Grid here. So, obviously one of the first things that will get pointed out when the NBA season comes out is really opening night.
Yeah, my bad. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I was going to say, so what are your thoughts on opening night before we really dive into it?
Well, we got 2 games, the Knicks and the Celtics. Celtics, that'll be ring night for them, of course. And then the later game is Timberwolves versus Lakers. For the Celtics and the Knicks, that's not really surprising. And I think this is a year where you can't really gripe about it. Obviously, the Celtics are the defending champions. You get that respect no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps that they are the Celtics. But regardless, like coming as defending champ. The Knicks, obviously, huge offseason for them, going out and getting Mikal Bridges. They're widely believed, including by me, to contend for the East as well this year. So I think you get after that matchup early. Makes a lot of sense. 2 huge markets there. Listen, I know what they're thinking with the Western Conference game, and I know that they're going to force the Lakers on us, and LeBron is still there. So we can talk about LeBron when we talk about the Olympic team and a little bit of that. But yeah, I wish it was Minnesota and Denver. I want a rematch of the 7-game series in the second round. That was a lot of fun. With Denver, that also would feature potentially the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. Like, I think there's still plenty of star power with Ant there too, obviously being one of the big rising stars to watch. And I just think from a competitive standpoint, like that would, to me, was probably the best series of the playoffs last year. And so to have that, not be that. Look, I know what it is with the Lakers, but it's like Denver is going to be competing a lot more for the West than the Lakers are this year. Like, we'll get into nationally televised games a little later on in the podcast, a little Ballin and Fallin preview, but it's like, y'all are going to force the Lakers on us enough.
Right. Well, and that's exactly what it is. It's the LeBron James effect, right? Put your biggest star out there on opening night. So, like, I get it. I understand it, but I'm with you. Like, just repeat the most exciting game of the playoffs last year or matchup of the playoffs last year, and showcase that game again. I'm all about that too, but I don't have too much of a problem with, Knicks, Celtics, Lakers, Timberwolves. It is what it is. That, by the way, what is that? October 22nd would be the day that it starts off there.
Yeah, October 22nd, the first few games. I mean, other notable openers that have been, highlighted, Oklahoma City and Denver play on the 24th, so that should be a lot of fun. The Sixers play the Bucks on the 23rd. So, little Giannis and Embiid pretty early. I think that's a lot of fun in terms of Eastern Conference matchups. Like, you've got Boston. Like, once Boston and the Knicks are off the table, I think the Sixers, obviously, just around the excitement of bringing in Paul George and having some new faces there, like, I think there's that element of it. And then with the Bucks still, like, you're always going to default to Giannis and Dame too as well. But, like, I know with the Bucks being up and down last year, you got a little bit of juice if you really want to still harp on the Doc Rivers thing.
I'm I'm laughing because, again, if you want to see the list, it's at NBA.com, but they came out with a 20 must-see matchups list
Right.
in the first 2 months, and maybe they probably shouldn't have shot for 20 because some of these are a little like, okay, fine. Like, Pacers Knicks, that's second game for both of them. I'm about that, right?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
again last time the Pacers were in Madison Square Garden. Hallie had 26. They won 130 to 109. Like, that's a good time.
Yeah, they leaned into it too. Even on WWE, we talked about it a few weeks ago
Mhm.
when they had Brunson and Hallie facing off against each other. Like the Knicks and Pacers has been a rival. You know, there was obviously rivalry in the '90s as well, a big one there. So yeah, I definitely want to run that back. Like if the Knicks weren't opening, that would be a team that I want them to play. And I mean, Pacers have an argument too. I think to be like, hey, maybe we should be playing those Celtics. You know, we were right here as well. We were in the conference finals last year, not the Knicks, but like we also just unfortunately, you know how that goes
It
with smaller
flamed
versus
out
big
so
markets.
and also it just feels like it flamed out a little more than the Knicks, like, still went out on that really high, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the Pacers only went out low because I feel like they had multiple winnable games. I
Yeah.
think Boston winning that series was not a surprise. And I do, for the record, think like once Porzingis came back, it really was going to change it. But yeah, if you're the Pacers, there are 2 games at least that I can think of that you have to be absolutely sick about.
So then, the second one on this list, and I don't think they were going in particular order, but they highlighted Saturday, October 26th at 8 p.m. on League Pass.
Uh-huh.
The Thunder versus the Bulls. Get out of here with that.
Oh, the one with the Caruso matchup?
Stop that. Stop that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
They said take another look at OKC 2 nights after it faces Denver for the opener. The Thunder had a strong offseason. Isaiah Hartenstein, cool. Alex Caruso, former Bulls player, returning for the night. Chicago obviously has Josh Giddey in that deal. Let's see how teams make their no, stop it. Stop it.
Giving Chicago that credit. I'm fine with the
Right.
Thunder, but like, don't tell me that with Chicago. Like, the other opener that I want to highlight here real quick is the Clippers and the Suns on the 23rd. And the biggest reason is that it's the first game in the Clippers' new arena, the Intuit Dome. First time the Clippers have obviously been solo, not in an arena with the Lakers. So that's very exciting for them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, pretty big matchup there. The other Suns involved game too. I don't know if you saw this on the schedule, but they've got the Suns and the Spurs set to play at the University of Texas in Austin. So that's a
Yeah.
homecoming for Kevin Durant. Super cool on that front. Obviously, Austin just up the road. It's like an hour and a half away from San Antonio. So for Spurs fans in Austin, you got Wemby to watch as well. So that should be a lot of fun. I like the NBA kind of playing with some new venues like that.
Yeah, I'm about it too. Another one I see highlighted on here, it will be Kings, Lakers. That happens on the 26th of October. That'll be a fun one. Obviously, DeRozan there now. What does that look like for?
Why is that highlighted?
That's the main reason is Kings hoping to make their mark in the West since last year. I guess you kind of consider it a down year.
I
DeMar
guess I'm not trying to sound that sounds like king slander. That's not really king slander at all. Because I agree with why I want to see DeRozan there. It's more of it's just like, why is the one against the Lakers highlighted? Like, shouldn't it be against the Warriors or
It seems like the main one they're highlighting is the fact that DeRozan was kind of also sought after by the Lakers, so went to the Kings. Maybe there's some saltiness there.
God, that's such a reach, though. We're reaching so
Dude,
hard.
I'm telling you, they're reaching. They have Wizard Hawks highlighted Monday, October 28th. Come on.
I hear you. You got to put them somewhere, I guess.
Does this potentially pit the picks in the draft against?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, that actually, you're right. The 1 and 2 back and forth. I keep forgetting
I don't care about that.
I agree. I also think like this, it's a combo of this draft being awful generally,
Yeah.
and then the Olympics rolling in, where it's just like I feel bad. But like, I didn't care about Summer League at all this year, or like any of these prospects really. Like, I'll go back and I'll obviously pay attention. And I'm not rooting for this draft. Like, obviously, I want this draft class to be like, I want us all to be wrong about this, is what I'm trying to say. But I don't know. I've been struggling. Like Olympics took, and in general, like we'll talk about this obviously more once we get into the full Olympic talk. But like,
Mhm.
dude, I'm upset the Olympics are over. Like as a whole, like I really, really enjoyed the Paris 2024 Olympics.
Yes, there were some very good moments. Obviously, some very memeable moments that are still
Did
going around right now.
did you? I texted, or not texted, but I tweeted Stuart and Andrew the other day, and I was like, "Yo, I'm 2 weeks late on this, but like, can I get the Australian reaction to the breakdancer? Because I've been laughing the whole time."
What an
Um,
odd situation.
that's the only time truly when I've watched professional sports and a hunt said I can 100% do that. Like I am capable of doing that routine. The
Uh,
only time, literally the only time it'll ever happen. But that one, I could do that.
it's happened twice. It happened that time, and then the whole pole vaulter thing. I was like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Oh, the dude that ran under. I thought,
No, 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 no,
Josh, I'm
no.
not gonna lie. I thought he got a little spicy there for a second with the pole vaulter, and the
I
dude
was
was
getting
DQ'd himself.
That's what I was talking about. Back to basketball talk though.
Did
Another
he lose though? Really? Like in the grand scheme of things, like I know he lost, but like I think he comes out as a winner as well.
He
That's
lost
what I mean. Like,
the
yeah.
war. Yeah, dude, like freaking the endorsement potential there is crazy. Um, there's another matchup that I'm excited for. It actually happens twice over an 18-day period. The first one's going to be Sixers Clippers Wednesday, November 6th. That's an ESPN game. Obviously, has to be Paul George back in LA. 18 days later, they play in Philadelphia. So that'll be fun to see. But I think you highlight the Clippers side of things because, like you said, the dome, the new building, Paul George, there's going to be a lot going on there. I think the James Harden stuff's still a little bit too, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think even just you're right, that Harden element there, I think that's a good point to throw that in
Yeah.
still. Like everybody's kind of over it. And like even like Maxey and Harden still text each other.
Yeah.
Like I don't really have beef with James Harden.
Mm.
Like James Harden is kind of it is what it is. And I rather like I'm glad the Sixers didn't give him a 5-year max. Like I think that was they took the swing, it didn't work. And honestly, like it's easier to say now that it's all panned out, but it's like, look, you can't say it didn't do anything other than work. Like they got a real swing at this year, the most they've had in a little bit. But either way, pretty good opening slate. Like for the most part, at least especially the opening night as well, where it's real minimal complaints. My complaint is what everyone would expect it to be. It's like you're forcing the Lakers on me when I'd rather have Minnesota and Denver.
So I'm looking at it now, although it doesn't really, I guess I don't even want to get into it because it really doesn't do anything for us. The strength of schedule, I'm looking at it on the Tankathon.
Orlando has the toughest for the playoff teams from last year. I did see that. I haven't looked at it a ton, but I did see Orlando of all the teams.
The problem is it's like you look at it and it's like I don't even the Tankathon page like doesn't look they're saying Portland has the hardest on this one. And I know a lot of them are different, but like they say Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Indiana, Philadelphia, like it's just the good teams have the easier schedule. So it's like I feel like the way they're doing it is kind of flawed. But let's talk a little bit while we're here about the NBA Christmas games that are out. How do you feel about them? Spurs, Knicks, Timberwolves, Mavericks, 76ers, Celtics, Lakers, Warriors, Nuggets, Suns.
I don't think there's any huge beef there. Like Nuggets Suns is a good late night West Coast matchup. There's a lot of star power there.
Yeah. Lakers Warriors, fine.
I just know what it is, but it is at the same counterpoint, and this will get into our Olympic talk. Is it's like, look, we do got to kind of appreciate LeBron and Steph while we got them. Like there is a little bit of star power to that. Like I agree, and for what it's worth, they will be evenly matched. They're both going to be kind of hovering around that play-in position. So I guess there is a little bit of that. Sixers and Celtics makes sense. That's a historical rivalry, and you already did Celtics Knicks the first night. I could have seen Sixers Knicks there as well, just because of like the first round last year and how competitive that was. You got the Nova boys like technically being around as well, so there's like another Philly wrinkle to it. I mean, the Knicks and the Spurs is the most random, but like you always have, like, look, the Knicks are going to be on Christmas every year. Like that's just what I've learned to accept. But also the Knicks are good this year, so I'm not really that upset about it. And then with the Spurs, it's like, look, that's Wemby. Like Wemby's going to get that pull now too. Like I don't know if the Spurs are there yet necessarily. but I also know that one young player is getting that boost, and it's probably gonna be Wemby. And then forgive me, what was the other matchup?
Oh, hold on, I'll pull it up. Which one? Spurs, Knicks, Timberwolves, Mavericks.
Timberwolves, Mavericks. Thank you. That
Mhm.
was it. And that's again, star power. Ant's one of the young rising stars
Oh,
in the league. The Timberwolves were great last year. The Mavericks are the defending Western Conference champions. They've
yep.
got Clay now as well. So
Which I think is worth mentioning for the Warriors-Lakers side of the debate. Like the teams might, at least Warriors side are going to look a little different. I mean,
dude, you could have done Warriors Mavs there. I think that would have been a really interesting Christmas matchup, just for the Clay Steph element, of
and
course.
then do Lakers Timberwolves.
Yeah, you could do. I mean, Lakers Wolves is fine.
Although
Like it's
I
one of
guess it's off the table because they kind of did opening day with that matchup. So like that's a little part of that maybe. So
yeah.
juggling.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like I look at who is the most beef, and I guess the one to me would be Oklahoma City. Like I think OKC could argue that, hey, we should be here ahead of the
Pacers
Lakers,
a
ahead
little
of the
bit.
Warriors. Yeah, Pacers a little bit as well. They were in the conference finals last year. And they just went lighter on the East. Like there's, there's only 3 teams from the East that are playing.
In 3 different games. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not really, Indy would be the one. Indy or Milwaukee would be the 2 that probably have the most beef. I mean, if you really want to get into it, like the younger squads, like maybe you could argue Orlando, but
one that I think you're even sliding a little bit. OKC.
Oh, no, I said OKC.
Oh,
OKC.
okay.
OKC, I think, is the biggest beef out of anybody here.
Okay.
OKC to me is like, you could make coherent arguments that OKC should be here ahead of the Suns, ahead of, I mean, they were the number 1 seed in the West last year. Like, I'm not going to knock the Nuggets out, but like, if you look at the Suns, the Warriors, and the Lakers, and I'm OKC, I feel a little slighted. Even with the Spurs as well. Like, I know Wemby gets that bump, but I'm like, I'm okay. We have Chet. We have Shea. We have like,
OKC should be there before the Spurs are there. That is blanket the statement. Like that's just it. It should be OKC Knicks. 2 upcoming teams that are really exciting that did phenomenal last year. It should be those. Wemby's going to get his time, but the Spurs were not good last year. So no.
Yeah, no, I don't really disagree with that, Just. Like I'm kind of with you. And even like again, not the main event, but like there was a little wrinkle with Hardenstein going back to New York. Like that wasn't a spicy breakup or anything, but like that's a good, like I'm high on OKC this year. I said it, like I felt like I was an OKC hater last year because I didn't believe in them at all. Like even when they were winning, I didn't feel that way. This season, I feel the exact opposite. Like OKC could mess around and win the whole thing this year, in my opinion.
I hope they do. I would prefer that over the Celtics. So
I would prefer literally anyone winning over the Celtics.
I think I agree.
I'd rather the season get canceled than watch the Celtics win again.
I think I agree with you, but I think equally don't want to see the Lakers or the Warriors win.
The Lakers got Bron. I'm team LeBron though. That's the problem. It's like the Warriors I agree with to an extent as well, but like I don't really have any beef with the Warriors. And it is a point where it's like Steph is in that legacy category as well, where I'm like, look, if he wants to keep padding, like by all means.
Not that they're like
I will never root for the Lakers, by the way, when LeBron is gone. It's a really weird situation for me where like I'm so pro LeBron that like I'm gonna have a little bias there. Like I can live with the Lakers winning if it means LeBron gets another ring.
I feel like I'm cool with it now, but like if we're in a finals and the Knicks are there, I'm probably not rooting for them.
It's I go back and forth because you're right. Because like, and this is all with the Homer hat on. But it's like there was always a little bit of like it's that Philly, it's that East Coast sports tension. It's Philly, it's New York, it's Boston. It's all these cities are so geographically close to each other that there's those rivalries. New York fans in real life, Boston fans in real life. Like we both have good friends that are multiple of each. The difference with the Knicks, though, compared to the Celtics, is like I will respect that. Like, man, the Knicks haven't won anything in ages. They'll go real hard, and I mean, they'll just like it'll be like Philly was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Like it'll be such a like just gasp of fresh air, like truly like that belief that you almost just don't think it will ever happen. To finally break that drought, like since the 70s, like there are generations of Knicks fans that have never seen them win a title and for large portions not even be competitive. So like I do respect that element of it. I would be jealous. Like there's no way around it. It's like, look, I want the Sixers to win a title too, man. Like we've been waiting a long time. Like it's been since 1983. So that part of me, like the selfish part of me goes, yeah, I want the Knicks to win, but like, let us win first, man. Like, let me get my trophy on the board, and then I'm good. Like, it's not like, I say before I pass, I would love to see all my teams win once. I'm fortunate enough to have seen that with my baseball team and my football team. We'll see if we can get any, Sixers, Flyers. I mean, technically the Flyers got a longer drought than the Sixers do. Flyers have once at 75. Brutal. It's brutal. I don't want to talk about it, but either way, definitely excited, and there will be full, all the full schedules are posted now. So there are plenty of other games that we can highlight, but we don't want to turn this into a 1 hour schedule release podcast. But welcome everybody to the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me as always, my co-host Justin Cousart.
I was just gonna pull up a Klay Thompson tweet, and his Twitter still says shooting guard for the Golden State Warriors.
I mean, whatever, man. Like, I don't know if he's got a team running it. Maybe they didn't update it yet.
On that boat, you know what I mean?
Listen, like, you're right. The jersey's gonna get retired, so like he's still there in spirit. Whatever.
That's so funny. And his picture is, I don't know what he's wearing in that picture. It just says USA. I can't tell if it's a Team USA thing or what, but okay. All right.
He's in the spirit. It's patriotism. What are you gonna do? Well, did you have the tweet, or are you just looking at Klay?
Oh, I didn't even get past the. I didn't even get past the bio.
Oh, I mean, hey, yeah, they just.
I was taken back by the bio, man.
LeBron's caption for the gold medal game was "Avengers Assemble," so maybe that'll fit for today. I see that's the name they've adopted. They asked them, obviously Dream Team, Redeem Team in 08.
Which I'm just going to put it out there. If you haven't seen the new Deadpool movie, it's really good.
So I haven't seen it yet, and I'm really ashamed because I'm a huge Deadpool fan. Like, I love the first two. It's one of those situations where my fiance went on vacation the week it came out. And then we were on vacation. Like, I'm on, I'm on remote right now, but it was like we were on vacation a little bit, so we just haven't had a chance. And it's one of those movies where if either of us were to go without each other, we would genuinely be upset. Like, there would be a problem. Yeah. Like, she would be furious if I went and saw the Deadpool movie without her. And I like my fiance being happy, so I have not seen Deadpool yet. We're gonna go see that together soon.
I hope nothing gets spoiled for you. Is just what
I've ducked it, man. I'm very blessed that I've ducked it and I haven't looked anything up.
There is a moment where you're gonna go, whoa! Oh,
yeah. I can't wait. I'm really excited. Like, I love the first two Deadpool movies. Like, I have a theory, and I'm not going to talk about it on this podcast, but we can talk about it at some point. But I've been workshopping this for a while. There has not been a funny comedy movie released since like 2013. Deadpool might be the funniest movie released since then, and it's weird because like Deadpool's like not like it's trying to be a comedy, but it's also not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not your typical ensemble cast comedy movie.
He breaks the fourth wall. There's just like a lot going on in it, but yeah, no, it's good. It's I won't say anything. I just hope nothing gets spoiled for you because that genuine reaction that you have in that show for so many different things is so cool.
I'm excited. Like, I've heard universally good things. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like I said, it is very high on my list of things to do when I get home. I might I got some time. I don't start school until next Thursday.
I see it.
Or I might go catch like a matinee or something, like really be on my old school vibe. But yeah, it's a lock. I'm going to see it.
All right, so let's talk Olympics.
Oh wait, we got to finish the intro. We're not done the intro yet. We haven't even got to the sponsors. No, like I said, I know we're 24 in. I know. Listen, we went longer on the schedule than I expected. I'm not gonna lie. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. We'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And check out YouTube. We got video versions of the podcast there. Drive and Dish NBA, just like the name of the podcast you're listening to. You can find us. You can subscribe. That way you know when other episodes are coming out. And of course, like we said, video version is there.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
So now we can get into the Olympics talk. Obviously, Team USA winning gold. France comes in second and gets silver. And Australia beat Belgium for bronze.
Are you looking at wait? You're looking at the women's bracket.
The women's side. Let me get there.
My bad.
And because yes, at least
like what bronze medal game are you watching?
But then on the men's side, very similar to the women's side, Team USA winning gold, France getting silver, Serbia getting bronze, and Germany runner-up, we'll call them, I guess, if you want to.
Dude, real quick, since you brought up the ladies, like, how about that France game? Like, 1-point finish, and
it was intense.
Dude, she pulled the Kevin Durant. I felt so bad, man. She hits that crazy shot to it goes in to make it a 1-point game. They're down 3 to force OT, and she's got her foot on the line. Brianna Stewart called it out right away, like immediately points at the line.
But it wasn't even like a little bit on the line. Like she was almost all the way to the heel over the line. So like there's not even like it was close. No, that was, but yes, I agree. Like that went in. I was like, oh my God.
It's funny because like that's the one, like the women you expected really to roll and just like have virtually no competition. So I was pleasantly surprised at how competitive that final was and how enjoyable that was. And I'm glad they won because it saved us a really exhausting Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese dialogue.
I was about to say, what would have happened if they lost?
I do.
What would have happened?
And it's not wrong, but I'm shout out to the ladies, 8 straight gold medals. You know what it is. Like they're a dynasty. They can't be stopped. And I mean, on the men's side, like, listen, what else is, I mean, what a phenomenal first like semifinals and then final itself. Like Goran Dragic, with that podcast, he said Yugoslavia would beat the U.S. I came out of that game with Serbia and I go, Dragic just might have been right, dude. Like that is Serbia. And when they were like realistically, obviously, it is what it is. That's how the bracket fell. Serbia is going to get bronze. To me, I walked out of that going, they were the second best team by far. Like they're to me the silver medal equivalent. Handled Germany in that game. We mushed Germany a little bit. Like, man, I'm not going to lie. I expected to see them in the finals. And, France got their revenge in the semis. And then just Serbia, pretty convincingly beat Germany in their bronze medal game. And for Serbia, like, you could see it. And look, like, I guess we'll start there with the U.S. and Serbia game. Because, I mean, that's realistically, they were down, like, double digits most of that game. Like, we were driving to the beach. And so I was kind of watching, like, on a, like, stream a little bit. Like, I was watching on my phone. And, you saw them get close in the fourth, but the way Bogdanovic was shooting, and it's kind of what we talked about in the preview, right? Like Bogdanovic got hot. He was hitting jumpers. And when he gets going, he can fill it up really quick. Jokic from a scoring perspective was pretty limited, but again, just doing everything right. That Serbia squad played hard. Like it was a really well fought game. And I mean, selfishly for me as a Sixers fan, I loved seeing Embiid play great in that game, like 19 points. Like, I mean, you look at that and it's Curry and it's Embiid. Like that's how they got by Serbia. Really, I mean, Steph obviously 36 points, just unbelievable. And for him, didn't really think you could top it, to be honest, but we'll get into that in a second. But, Steph up until that point in group play in the game against Brazil, he was kind of a non-factor. And so what a way for him to turn it on. Obviously this is his first and only Olympics. LeBron was great, 16 points. Joel, though, 8 of 11 from the field, 19 points. They needed them to be great. Like it was pretty balanced otherwise. Ant only had 2, KD had 9. Like Serbia had control. And I think for Serbia, like it is that you come out of it going, we got bronze medal. This is such a massive success for us, right? And it showed in the way that they celebrated. But man, there is that little bit of what if. Like you had the Giants on the ropes, and that's the thing about elite squads like this. Like when you got them on the ropes, you got to kill them, and that's a lot easier said than done. And credit to the U.S. for gutting it out when it mattered. Like that was they got tested. Like, and there was the line for that game was like 16.5 points for Serbia. I don't think I've ever seen more free money in my lifetime.
And I wonder if that gut check moment hadn't necessarily happened for Team USA early on, if some of the kind of gut check moments that happened later would have been more oh crap moments. And at that point you never know how it's going to go. And I know we're talking about what ifs now, but I do wonder if that kind of like hey everybody get your head on right, like
I thought they were losing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were losing.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Like, it was very like it's the most white knuckle I've ever been. Even that game against France, like France in the gold medal game kept it close. And listen, the U.S. was fully in the danger zone in that game. Like when it hits a 3-point game, the way Wemby was playing, Yabu was hitting shots, and that was with Fournier really not being able to score at all. Like he was extremely inefficient that game. I mean, just 3 of 10 from the field, only 8 points. Like he's a guy that you would really expect to go off. Batum only had only 5 points. It was obviously the Wemby show. Wemby with 26. And then Yabu with 20. I mean, hello, you want to talk about an audition for coming back to the NBA. Like, you got to imagine he gets a call after that. Good for him for staying ready. And good for him for, I mean, listen, LeBron getting dunked on like that was unsettling, Justin. I'm not going to lie. Like, that felt like, man, that felt, and again, I am a noted LeBron guy, but like, man, that hurt. I haven't seen, like, I was like, what is this random Frenchman doing dunking on? Like, is that what they felt when Vince jumped over Fred Weiss back in the day?
That's gonna be their Vince moment. I also feel like the big photo that obviously was trending afterwards was pretty cool. Was Steph Curry's shot over Wemby?
Yeah, it was crazy.
But it's like, oh my God, he's like, how did he even get that off? Is like crazy to look at.
A little more because I'm gonna go on a big Steph praise rant here in a second, but one more for Wemby. And why I just like Wemby has the mentality. And that's why I think he's going to be so great and meet all his projections. Wemby's got that silver medal on and they're asking him, they're like, what are you going to do? What have you learned? And he goes, oh, I'm figuring it out. And they're like, oh, you feel that about your Olympic opponents you're going to bring it? And he's just like, I'm bringing it to everybody. And it was like, he has all those potential, the just freakish build. And he wants to be great. Like that's when like they want to be great too.
Damn.
Like, we're all on alert with Wemby. I think we all know that.
Which I think is a little bit why we see him in like the Christmas games, you know, like I get it, but
no, he's going to dominate for a long time. There's no doubt about it. Steph Curry, Wardell, Stephen Curry. That was, they're not, and we're both huge sports fans, obviously, not just with the NBA, but we watch sports in general. And when you watch sports, you just have those moments once in a while where you just know you're watching something and you're going to remember where you were when you watched it forever. Like it's just permanently etched in your brain. That's me watching that Steph Curry performance. I mean, it's hard to imagine, and we knew this was his first go around. We knew what the symbolic or what, how much the symbolism meant of Steph and LeBron and KD coming around for this last rodeo. And even for KD, 5 Olympic gold medals, greatest Olympic scorer of all time. Like he may be the U.S. GOAT basketball, like for Team USA in terms of being an Olympian. Steph Curry, though, like I don't really have the words for the brilliance that offensive performance was. Like when it got white knuckle and he hits that first shot and you go, okay, like it's back to 6, you get some breathing room a little bit. But what gets lost in that flurry is that France was battling that whole time. Like they didn't just pull away after that first one. And for Steph to hit 5 3-pointers like that down the stretch, and you knew like the second one, he got him on the pump, hit the shot.
You're like, oh.
And when he hit that second one late, that's when you just kind of knew. And this is what Warriors fans have obviously known for over a decade now,
it's
right?
Just happening now, yeah.
When it's happening, you just sit back and you go, oh, and you marvel. And for a guy that, I mean, the Warriors over the course of this podcast have undoubtedly been the most successful team. Steph's got 4 NBA championships. He's got a unanimous MVP. He is unquestionably the greatest shooter of all time among all the other scoring accolades he's had over the years. It's hard to fathom that there are moments when you can still add to the legacy and add to the tape in the Hall of Fame game. And I watched that and I went like, I was just marveling because I don't know that. Like there aren't many moments in our lives where we're going to see an offensive performance like that when it mattered the way it did, when the story mattered the way it did, and on the stage it was on with everybody watching. Like there's nothing to say other than it was unfiltered, just sheer brilliance from Steph Curry. And I'm grateful that I witnessed it. And I will remember where I witnessed that game.
And I'll tell you this too. When there's a moment like that, there always seems to be an announcer call that goes with it.
Yeah.
And we got one,
Yeah.
but it wasn't necessarily from the American side. It was
The French side. Yeah.
saying the devil named Steph Curry is hurting the French. Like, how cool is that? Like, that's so cool. And I know it's obviously you have to translate it, but I think that's where people will go back to and show the shots. But when you recap the whole moment, that audio, that being said, also needs to be in there for the full effect of what's going on.
Even the shot too, like on the American side, like I thought Ian Eagle and Wade did a great. I mean, that last shot, all you could do is yell. Like all you can do is yell at that point because it's such a ridiculous moment.
I will say Wade. I wasn't the biggest fan of Wade.
I wasn't either. In that moment, it worked. I'm kind of with you overall.
Yeah.
I thought
like, maybe it was the prelims where I really felt like I was like, dude.
I feel like he was trying to be too hip.
Yeah.
Like it was just trying to he was trying to nail every reference at once. And it's just like, D Wade, you're Dwayne Wade. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, you're one of the best basketball players ever. Like, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, you played with a bunch of these guys. You know what it means to be an Olympic gold medalist. So I did love Melo on the sidelines. Obviously getting hype. They say, many are saying that was the moment when Bogdanovich mocked Melo, that did the 3 to the dome. That was kind of the turning point. I mean, look, that last Steph shot, just obviously because Fournier and Batum played excellent defense, and that's the ultimate. And I always go back to the moment too, and everybody's talked about it, where it's like, look, KD and LeBron are wide open demanding the ball. That is the only player on earth who has that green light to take that shot, and you're just not upset about it. Where you're like, no, Steph can pull that. That's fine.
He's good. Yeah, do your thing.
It's that tape will be on every Hall of Fame reel. Will be shown on every U.S. Olympic footage from now on. I think that's probably the greatest gold medal performance game. That to me, it did supplant Kobe in 08 against Spain. I just felt like it was, given the pressure, given the moment. It was phenomenal. You love to see it. I'm so happy for this group of guys. The other one guy that I do want to salute, who had 15 points, he was pretty steady the whole time, but I really think he won't get talked about the way because he wasn't doing his traditional role. Devin Booker showed out this Olympic run big time. Devin Booker played phenomenal defense. He was always in his role, going to the corner, doing the little things, like not being asked to score, being asked to do other moments with the ball in his hands or just be off ball and not have that. A lot of guys just frankly can't do that. It's hard to humble yourself when you're such a dynamic scorer the way Devin Booker is, when you're such an alpha guy the way you are in Phoenix. I'm so impressed by Devin Booker's run, man. I think he won't be the quote unquote star breakout number one guy that's talked about, but man, he was a winner on this team and he really showed his value. And going forward in 2028, which, we can talk a little bit about here, guys who you think are going to be on the roster, but he's going to be a central piece of that. And I think he's really earned that.
Yeah, I would say Devin Booker's performance only second to the celebration that him and Kevin Durant had afterwards on the yacht. But yes, I agree. Defensively, he showed out. He did the stuff that doesn't show up on the stats in that side of things. And I would imagine gets an invite back in LA and probably wouldn't have to go too far if he's still with Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, 2028. When you look ahead to the roster, because obviously there will be some pretty big changes here. We're not expecting LeBron. I mean, LeBron may still be playing. Who knows? But
LeBron will still be there.
Doesn't seem like LeBron, Curry, and KD are going to play again.
Ant probably there though.
Ant's going to be there. I mean, there's a few guys right off the rip who you would imagine are going to be back. Ant's going to be back.
He's not going to be Team USA though.
Well, Embiid, it's always interesting because I just don't know. It's tough with his prime and with injuries. It's one of those guys where it's he may even weirdly age out of it. So I hope he goes that route and plays with us again. I think he's a lock if he's still healthy, but it's just, I do think there's more.
Didn't he reference not playing for Team USA?
I mean, I think if Cameroon legit fielded a squad and could contend for Olympic Games, I think Embiid would play for Cameroon. And I think nobody with Team USA should be upset if he does that.
No.
Like, Embiid was born in Cameroon. His family's in Cameroon.
But I'll tell you, that would be a talking point. If 28 comes around and Cameroon's got a team and he's on it, people are going to be like, wait a second, what the hell? You know, like, I know that will happen.
Yeah, but you know what? Guys did it with the Bahamas too.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's not really, I don't fault them. Like, I would honestly, I'd respect Embiid playing for Cameroon, like, sincerely.
Do you think Derek White is on 2028?
I don't know, man. It's really like, that's a tough call. Like, guys like Derek White and Drew Holiday are on the fence. I'm going to assume they age out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the locks to come back from this team are Ant. I think Bam is more of a lock than people are giving him credit for.
Tatum?
I think Tatum is coming back. I know Tatum had a miserable Olympics. I know everyone is killing Tatum, and kind of rightfully. Tatum's coming back.
I feel like we can't also go past Hallie's post.
Hallie was great. But that was funny though. I respect Hallie, and Hallie's post, for those who didn't see it, was when you do nothing on the group project and get an A.
He's right in the medal.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, look, he was on the squad. Like, can't really fault him for that. And I think Hallie's one of those guys.
When you put together a team of the best guys in the NBA, someone's got to be the 16th guy of the best. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be there.
Hallie's interesting because, like, it is one of those things, just because the guard talent, like, you wonder, because the guys that aren't on the roster that immediately jump out as could be are like the Ja Morants and the Jalen Brunsons and the Donovan Mitchells and even the Tyrese Maxeys of the world. Like, you could all see them making a strong push for the Olympics in that year. I mean, the locks to come back, I just want to kind of count these out a little bit. You got Ants coming back for sure. Booker, I think, is coming back for sure. Tatum's coming back for sure. So there's 3 right there. I'm going to put Bam in that category and say you got 4. AD, I'm on the fence about. Like, maybe, I mean, I think if he comes back, he's a lock, but I think it's like, that's kind of in the Embiid where, like, I don't know. At that point, you do start to wonder with the guards. Like, I would think Ja is there. I would think that, I don't know. I think Donovan Mitchell should be there because he probably plays more of a 2. Like, I think you need more of a 2 than a point. You know, big guys wise, a lot of people were talking Chet Holmgren.
Did you mention potentially like Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, I think Jalen Brunson's in that combo. I mean, Zion, it all depends on health. Like, Zion could be. It just depends on the health again.
So here you go. Yahoo put out a prediction. They have Hallie, Brunson, Booker, Suggs, Jalen Suggs.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, I get it from a role standpoint. I get it. The Orlando player that will definitely be there is Paulo. Paulo will be there to play for sure.
Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown, Paulo.
Yeah, JB should be a lock too, assuming there's no like.
Wow, they're going way out. They're saying Cooper Flag on.
I think a lot of people are saying that. I don't want to jump that far in front of the hype train, but like, Cooper Flag is a unanimous one. Like, that kid's gonna ball for sure. And I mean, the fact that he's already getting Olympic camp invites, I think, is a testament to, like, he can hang a little bit already.
They do have Anthony Davis. He'd be 35 for anybody wondering at that point.
Yeah, so he could be a last rodeo, assuming health.
Bam, who would be 31 at that point. They have Chet on here.
I think Chet makes it.
And then that's it. That's their thing. Yeah.
Chet, I think, is a lock as a big just because they need bigs, assuming no Embiid.
Think about this. We're already going to have the Wemby-Chet rivalry going on strong. And at this point, we're 5 years into it. And now they face for a silver and gold at the Olympics in LA. And Chet dunks on Wemby to win the gold. Dude, come on. Let's go. I'm hyped.
Would be sick. Would be cool.
As Snoop Dogg sitting on the sideline and Red Hot Chili Peppers are playing Californication as we go. Like, that's...
Yo. Also, remember when we completely mushed Germany? Like, I know we said that earlier, but like, my God, man. Like, you want to talk, they imploded as soon as we talked nice about them.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Some other names that they predict. Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler, Derek Lively, Evan Mobley are some that they just kind of threw out there as potential.
Yeah, we're going down the list at that point. Like, some of them make more sense than the others. Like, Jaren Jackson's a good, like, he reminds me like he could play the Bam type role that Bam played this year. But yeah, I mean, either way, I think that's starting to they'd have to break out a little more.
Getting a little testy at that point. So
yeah. All right, who's balling, who's falling? Our NBA version of the stock market. We always like to start with the good before the bad. And so balling for me this week is Kevin Durant, not just leaving Paris with a gold medal, but also buying a minority share of ownership for Paris Saint-Germain, huge soccer club over there, the biggest in France by far. Some said they haven't won a Champions League yet. I would never do that because I love Paris and I love Saint-Germain as a neighborhood especially, but some are saying if they were to be a soccer troll, but they've dominated League One, obviously, League Un, if you will. But yeah, I mean, this is, and KD's got, like, he's been doing a lot of this with the boardroom group. Soccer wise, he's also bought in locally to the Philadelphia Union over in the MLS. He's had a lot of involvement there. So just continuing to expand his profile, obviously, you know, a high profile athlete. PSG is a major brand, just even beyond soccer. Like PSG has a deal with Jordan. That's kind of crazy. I came off as I hated on PSG a little bit, seeing as I have a jersey in my closet because I love that neighborhood so much. But yeah, shouts KD buying in.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, listen, if you got a lot of money, you might as well buy some cool stuff with it. I almost cursed.
Good self edit there, but
make your money make money. That's all I'll say.
Word. Who's balling for you this week?
Balling for me is Kevin Durant's bank account. No, Patty Mills, who is going on a 1-year, $3.3 million deal to the Utah Jazz. Mills reuniting with Coach Will Hardy for his 16th NBA season. It is a fully guaranteed deal. So congrats to him getting a little extra cash and going into season 16.
Yeah, Patty Mills is going to be 36 this year if he plays the whole season with Utah. You know, a little bit limited last year, only 19 games with the Hawks and then 13 games with the Heat. You know, I mean, listen, Patty Mills is playing mostly a bench role at this point, but like that's what he's known for, like that veteran leadership on a team full of young guys in Utah. He'll provide that kind of a steady hand. It gives him the opportunity to stay in the NBA too, obviously. I mean, and he's been, you know, always an Olympic legend, Patty Mills. I feel like we should mention that and say that as well. Obviously huge with Team Australia every single year. But yeah, good for Patty Mills, man, keeping that deal, keep it staying around. He's truly one of the elder statesmen at this point. You know, $3.3 million fully guaranteed. We're not expecting him to play major minutes. Like he'll be playing that vet role, and he's a good guy to do that.
I agree. I wonder if we can try to sneak him into Immaculate Grid.
I am wondering. I got to pull it up. I
have it up
a little bit. Looked earlier.
I did just pull it up. I don't think so, but
that's a shame. Also, I'd feel dirty cheating, like using him now because I'm looking at his basketball reference page. And well, here's everybody he was on. For those who are wondering, he's played for Portland, San Antonio, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Miami, and now Utah.
Impressively, none of those are an option on Immaculate Grid this time.
How about that? He was on the Spurs team that won the title in 2014, so he's got a ring as well.
Yes, yeah, 10 seasons with San Antonio, right?
Yeah, I mean, those are his most famous years. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he played 82 games for them in 2017 and 2018. Like he was with the Spurs for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, a few years with Brooklyn. Like I said, last year bouncing around, and now here we are with the Jazz. Fallen for me this week. It's not really fallen, I guess, but he's retiring, so we'll say he's fallen since he's leaving us. And that is Joe Harris, officially calling it a career. Most notably a 3-point shooter, of course. He won the 3-point shooting contest in 2019. I think career-wise, he'll be remembered the most with Brooklyn. He was there from 2017 to 2023. Also a few years on the Cavs, year with the Pistons last year, 16 games with the Pistons in 23, 24.
There are few things in life that happen that make you feel insanely old.
Yeah.
This is one of them. He is my age. Like, we are the same age. He is 32. He's born actually a few months after me. And this man is retiring from the NBA.
Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, Joe Harris said really like 2017 to 2021 was realistically Joe Harris's peak. Like when he was getting heavy minutes with Brooklyn and was giving you like
one of the most efficient 3-point shooters at one point.
Oh, yeah. He led the league in 3-point.
He did too. Yeah.
I think percentage-wise, yeah, he led the league one of those years, but I mean, his highest for a career in 2021, he shot 47.5%. Career-wise, he shot 43.6% from beyond the arc, which is obviously incredibly efficient. Not really. He just wasn't giving you much beyond shooting towards the end of his career. Like he kind of fell off, like he turned 30 and fell off a cliff, to put it bluntly. And I think that's the reason he's probably hanging it up now. But no, shout out to Joe Harris, man. A good 10-year NBA career. Definitely in terms of Brooklyn, I think will be most remembered there. Probably won't have to buy a beer in that borough ever. So good for him.
Exactly. So my Fallin is going to get back to what we talked about earlier, national TV games. Obviously, this list always comes out every year when we talk about this. And the Fallin part of it would be the 3 teams that only have 4 nationally televised games, and that is the Detroit Pistons, the Portland Trailblazers, and the Toronto Raptors. For those keeping track, the Wizards and the Bulls have more. They have 1 more. They have 5. Brooklyn is also 5, for anybody wondering.
Are we surprised by any of those teams, though? Like, who do you think's got the biggest beef?
No, I mean, Wizards shouldn't have 5. Like, if I'm the Pistons, I'm pissed that the Wizards have 1 more than me. That's what I'm. Honestly, if we're really talking about it,
Jordan Poole doesn't swing you 1 more game. Kuzma doesn't swing you 1 more game.
No, dude. Really the team that I think that should have the most beef out of this, and it maybe is just because it's local. Orlando Magic doesn't have double digit. They have 9. The Rockets have 11. Even the Kings should probably have beef. They only have 12. Pelicans have more than them. Like, I would feel beef towards that. Probably the Pacers too, with only 14.
Yeah, the Pacers should super have beef. They were in the conference finals last year. Like,
they
have 2 stars.
The Grizzlies have more nationally televised games than the Pacers. I understand the Joss stuff, but like the Spurs, again, the Wemby stuff, but they have more. Cleveland has more than them. Like, I would be pissed about that.
I'm pissed if I'm Orlando and Cleveland's got way more than me. And Indy, I'm with you there. If I'm Indy and Cleveland has more than me, I'm pissed. Like, I know they have Donovan Mitchell, but it's like, yo, we got Halliburton and Pascal Siakam. Like, give us some national love a little bit.
If I'm Boston, I'm also pissed that the Knicks have the exact same amount as us.
But I'm not surprised by that. You know?
Give me 1 more. Give me 35. Give the Knicks 34. I was a better team. I won this year. They don't even have the most. Obviously, the Lakers, which is the big part of this whole thing, have the most.
Surprise.
They're almost 40 games. Almost half of their games are nationally televised. They're at 39. Golden State's at 36. The 2 teams that barely even made, I don't think, did the Warriors? No, they were in the play-in game last year. So, like, what are we doing?
We know what they're doing. They're forcing the Lakers and Warriors upon us because that's what they're going to do. And I'm not really surprised by that.
It should be flipped, but that's just me.
So who are the lowest again? It's the Pistons, it's the Raptors, and it's who?
Pistons, Raptors, Blazers.
Yeah, I don't have really any beef with those 3 being the lowest.
No,
like,
to me, it should be Brooklyn, Chicago, Wizards, Detroit, Trailblazers, Raptors, all at 4. That gives you 3 more. Then you can go correct your problems up top and give Boston 1 more than the Knicks. You can then give the rest to the Pacers to try to pop them up above San Antonio. And there we go. You know, like, that's how I would at least try to address that. OKC only having 25 is a little... don't like that either, but
I mean, I think a lot of the teams you would expect are kind of around 30, so that one I'm a little like less egregious on. Like, I agree, like they should probably be a little higher, but it's like, you guys spread them around somewhere. Know what I really want to see, and no disrespect to NBA TV, I want to see a list of the ones that aren't on NBA TV, so I know who's really getting the TNT games and the ESPN games, and the ones that are like accessible to everyone.
Yeah,
so that'll be a little interesting as well. I'm sure someone will pull that up at some point.
It'll probably happen for sure.
All right, should we play some Immaculate Grid?
Let's do it.
Of course, a reminder, as Justin pulls this up, for the podcast listeners, we'll give you the audio form or here in a sec. But if you want to watch a video of Immaculate Grid, just search Driving Dish NBA podcast. You will see them all on YouTube. But for the audio listeners, this week we've got our columns from left to right are the Clippers, are the Celtics, and our 5 assists per game. Our rows from top to bottom are the Pistons, the Raptors, and Duke. So a little bit of a difference with college in here. The good news is with us is because neither of us really watch college ball like that, is it's Duke. So at least they've got a few players. Like it'll be probably a little more chalky, but we can play some ball here a little bit.
So, yeah, you're going to have to run the table with the Duke stuff. I do know the first one, Clippers, Pistons. I've got a few actually.
All right, well, let's rattle them off because there's one obvious one.
Reggie Jackson.
Okay. Not the obvious one, but yes, that works.
Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin's the obvious one to me.
Boban.
Yep. Boban works.
Luke Kennard. I've got 4 for you.
Good for you with Luke Kennard. Yeah, Luke Kennard does work there as well. I've actually got a 5th who I think works and who I think I'm going to use for Clippers and Duke because it's the only one I'm 100% about.
Okay.
Actually, never mind. I just got a second one, so maybe we're bailed out there. I think Grant Hill played for the Clippers, and Grant Hill definitely played for the Pistons. That's where he was like broke out at.
Okay.
Grant Hill also went to Duke, and so part of me wants to use Grant Hill for Duke. The other Duke guy that I just remembered that works for the Clippers is Elton Brand. Elton Brand went to Duke.
So do we? Okay. So what do you want to do?
So I guess you want me to run. Let's run the table here real quick on Duke before we go anywhere else.
Get him off the board. Get him off the board for me.
Tobias also works for Clippers and Pistons as well.
Yes. I did think of Tobias. Yep.
I think Boban is probably my lowest percentage out of Boban or Luke Kennard are the two that stand out.
I feel like, well, no, Luke's not going to work there or there. So
Luke Kennard.
Does Boban work in? No, he never went to the Raptors, right? So he wouldn't work there.
Boban definitely doesn't work there. I mean, Kennard, like, he got drafted by the Pistons, and then he went to the Clippers. Like, that was the initial trade, but he's on the Grizz now. So it's like, do you remember that necessarily?
Here's my thing, is I think Boban played less games for the two teams combined.
Yeah, I do too.
Combined.
Well, and they get drafted by, like, Boban broke out on the Clippers, but you're right. Like, I don't think people like associate Boban at all with Detroit.
Let's go Boban.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Boban Marjanovic.
B-A-N? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. 3%.
Okay. All right. Yeah, all right. So for Duke, if we're gonna run the table on Duke real quick, the ones where I know work for sure are the Clippers. Elton Brand, and then Grant Hill, who we talked about. Grant Hill, I'm not 100% played for the Clippers, but like I'm 99.9.
You want to go Grant here then?
Boston, the two, the obvious one is Tatum, but the other one is Kyrie as well. The 5 assists per game is where I almost want to save Kyrie because I don't think Tatum had 5 assists per game. I also, though, like, I think Grant Hill had 5 assists per game. And so a part of me wants to put Grant Hill in the Duke 5 assists per game because I think he'll definitely be lower than Kyrie. Kyrie's a point guard. Like, we associate Kyrie with Ballin. You know, having Elton as that bailout for Clippers and Duke, I think Grant will be really low here.
You want to go Grant?
And I'm positive he went to Duke. So, yeah, like that part I'm not worried about.
17%? Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Duke is it's like there are a limited number of players to choose from. Like they produced a lot of pros. The one guy I wondered about was Jay Williams. Jay Williams obviously only played 1 season. He's a Duke legend. He played 1 season with the Bulls and had that motorcycle accident, but he was a guard. And so like I do wonder, I'm going to look that up real quick. Actually, I want to know. He won't work on this grid anywhere else. So I'll look him up. Jay Williams. 4.7. Okay, so he wouldn't have worked, but that was really close. Grant Hill did play for the Clippers, by the way. He ended his career.
Oh, you know who? And I can help with the grid now. You know who works for Clippers, Duke, and it's probably going to be a very high percentage. JJ Redick.
Oh yeah, JJ Redick does work for the Clippers and Duke. You're 100% right.
That's probably going to be a high one, right?
I mean, it's him and Elton. Like, I don't think Elton's going to be low either. Elton Brand is a good player. Like, JJ, because he's such a media personality and now coaching, like, will probably be higher. I don't think JJ didn't play for Boston, so he won't work there. He didn't play for the Raptors either. So, yeah, I would be cool putting JJ in the Clippers, though. That's fine.
I know Grayson Allen works, but not here. I know he went to Duke, but
either of those. I don't think he played. He hasn't played for Boston.
No. God, that would have been awesome.
I'm trying to think if like Christian Laettner ever played for Boston because he had like a weird NBA career.
Didn't Actually, you know who went to Duke? I'm
Who?
positive Luke Kennard went to Duke.
No, did he go to Duke?
I'm almost positive Luke Kennard went to Duke now that we were talking about him. I'm like fairly confident because he played summer league. He played summer league.
He did go to Duke. Son of a biscuit. He did go to Duke.
Dude, I'm telling you, because he played summer league the year we went to Orlando.
All right, put him.
Him and Malik Monk.
Yeah, I do remember.
Kennard. Yeah. 7% is wild.
I mean, JJ would have been higher for sure. Elton would have been hired, I think. You're right. I do remember Malik Monk playing for the Hornets too. And because Malik Monk went to Kentucky and was awesome. And that's why I was always like, he was one of those guys I was surprised it took to break out in the league the way he did, because I thought he was gonna be like day one elite.
Yeah. But even when we saw him at summer league, he was kind of like timid. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, hey, that Lakers run pulled him out.
All right, Clippers, Raptors. Quick fire off the top of my head: Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, Lou Williams,
Hedo
Turkoglu, PJ Tucker, maybe. That's all I got.
You got 5. They're all right. Listen, you tell me.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Of the guys you mentioned, I think Turkoglu is probably the least, because Turkoglu was on the Raptors. It was like kind of at a random time. Like, Turkoglu's most famous with the Kings, I feel like, in the Magic.
Orlando. I was gonna say Orlando for me.
Oh, the Magic. He went to the finals with them, and he broke out early on the Kings. The Clippers was at the end of his career, so like that'll definitely be lower. I mean, everybody else you named was super well known. Like, Lou Will won a 6th man there, and I think he's most known with the Clippers, arguably. Kawhi is Kawhi. Ibaka too. PJ's on the Clippers right now, so I think there will be a lot of like remembrance for that. I think Hedo is definitely a good guess there.
Okay, Hedo. Oh, well, it would help if I had my thing clicked. How does he? Oh,
Hedo.
Yep, AO. There you go. Bam, points.
Nice, dude. Okay, wow. I mean, he ended with the Clips. That's the thing, is he's definitely not well known there. All right, Raptors and Pistons 5 assists per game is pretty easy, I think, on both accounts. The obvious one for Pistons and 5 assists per games to me is Chauncey Billups. There's a few though that I think I'm trying to
think point guards.
I mean, Cade had 5 for sure. Like, he's had 5 every year he's been in the league. I think he's probably the obvious.
Do you think Reggie Jackson ever did it?
Dude, he might have. He played enough minutes there. That's the thing. Detroit would have been the place he'd do it.
Who's like a weird one-off? Who played point guard when like Drummond was there?
Brandon Knight, who might work there as well.
Brandon Knight probably works there.
Knight might work there. He's known, like, that's his most memorable tenure, I would say. But also, like, we may associate Brandon Knight with getting dunked on by DeAndre Jordan.
I always associate him with the Suns for some reason, but
yeah, he was there a lot. I mean, he was, I'm trying to think if I have enough faith in that to guess him.
I don't. I'm just trying to think of point guards that were around that time.
Reggie would probably be a sneaky low one. Like, I don't think he's going to be like below 1% or anything, but like, I think Reggie Jackson's a good one. He's like your just classic point guard. He played heavy minutes for them.
Bam, 2%.
Nice. Okay, cool. So that was lower than I thought it'd be.
Do you think, so do you think Kawhi would be an interesting, sneaky 5 assists per game for the Raptors, because they're most likely using him for the Clippers-Raptors connection?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, because it's like, obviously it was him and Kyle on the backcourt, and it's just like, did he have?
I don't know,
because he only played in Toronto that 1 year, but like, he was so good that 1 year in Toronto.
Kyle Lowry definitely works.
Lowry's the obvious one. Like, Kyle Lowry, no question, will have.
DeRozan?
Man, DeRozan, I just never think of as an assist guy.
I don't either.
I mean, he's a guard, so like, I'm assuming he's going to have like almost by accident. So like maybe it could work. Like he was an all-star. He certainly had enough usage where it's in play. I just don't associate him as a point
I
guard.
want to do it. I want to take the risk. I want to go
For
DeRozan.
DeRozan? Okay.
Yeah. I want to do it. Oh my God.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
baby.
4%. I'm surprised that's 4. Like I don't associate him with assists, but I figured people would just guess that because he had such a memorable Raptors tenure, you know.
I agree.
Let me see. DeMar DeRozan had, dude, he only did it one time in Toronto.
Wow.
Wow. He had 5.2 in 2017, 2018. He has done it multiple times since then in San Antonio. All 3 years in San Antonio, he did it.
That's
funny. 6.2, 5.6, and 6.9. His first year, actually, no, 2 of the 3 years in Chicago, he's had it too. So that's kind of crazy. He facilitated a little more later on then.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a note, like he always had 4, give or take. Like he was never like a black hole, you know what I mean?
No, but he definitely, you know.
Reggie Jackson had a bunch in Detroit, by the way. Like he was like the first year he played in Detroit, he had like 9. So
you know who works for Celtics Raptors that I think may not necessarily be the most thought about?
Celtics and Raptors. Go ahead.
Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, Kelly Olynyk definitely works for both of them.
Should we do it? You think it's going to be high?
I'm just trying to like I'm running through who else like comes off that works. Toronto.
Dennis Schroeder probably works.
Dennis Schroeder does work. No, he's on Toronto last season. He was on Boston for a little bit. Dennis is like, just because he's there now in Toronto, I think that he's going to be a little more notable.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that guess.
Okay. Olynyk?
Yeah, I'm cool with Olynyk.
Oh,
I forgot to. Thank you. I was waiting for you to say it. I was like, I forgot we said 2 for a second.
He said 18. Wow.
Man, Kelly Olynyk fits in a lot of play. You know what? He would have worked for Detroit and Boston too. Now that I think about it.
Damn it.
Yeah, maybe it would have been a little lower there. Though you know what? I associate him with Detroit. Know who works for Detroit and Boston that I do think will be kind of low? Greg Monroe. Greg Monroe started in Detroit. Like obviously he was really popular there. He's bounced around so much. 2%. All right. He's bounced around all over the place. Like because it was him and Drummond. It was they had the 2 big men, and then I think he was in Milwaukee for a little bit, but ever since then it's been like a bunch of like random 10 days here and like in all over. Greg Monroe is probably, let me look him up. He's probably a sneaky good. Yeah, he's got a lot. Jesus, he's got way more than I thought. Detroit, Milwaukee. He played 20 games with the Suns. He's played 2 different stints with Boston. He played for the Sixers for a few games. He played for, which I remember because that was before the playoffs. Then he was overseas. He had a year in 2021. He played for, and this is where he really becomes like an Immaculate Grid darling. He played for 4 games for Minnesota. He played 2 games for Washington. He went back to Milwaukee for 5 games. And then he played 3 games with Utah.
When in doubt, guess Greg Monroe.
Yeah, that's like sneaky good. He's been like the Thad Youngs of the world.
Do we go Kyrie?
It's Kyrie or Tatum. Tatum's there now, so I feel like he'll be lower. Kyrie will get used for the assist as well. I frankly don't have anyone else. Like, I'm sure there's another one. I don't think Christian Laettner did. Like, I'm trying to remember just other Duke guys. Like, Carlos Boozer, I don't think ever played in Boston.
Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson.
Neither in Boston. Cam Reddish never played in Boston. RJ Barrett's never played in Boston.
Didn't Seth Curry play in Duke?
Seth went to Duke. I don't think
he was on Celtics ever.
Like Seth's bounced around because Seth had a weird like kind of start to his career, but they were all out west. I think.
I don't think he was. I'm trying to think back.
Like Paul Pierce didn't go to Duke, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
What was it year? Was it the Okafor year that Jabari Parker came out?
Yeah.
Jabari went to Duke, but I don't think he ever played on.
Man, that's interesting.
I don't think he ever played on the Celtics.
Dude, that's so tough though, because he might have. Because
he's like little.
I'm pretty sure he did, Justin. I think he signed like a 10-day there.
Well, real? When would he have
Dude,
done that?
I'm telling you, I think Jabari Parker played in Boston. This is a like, dude, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty damn pot. I know he played in Milwaukee. I know he played for the Bulls. I know he played for the Hawks.
I literally
Why do I know this much
you.
about Jabari Parker?
I was gonna say I don't even I couldn't even tell you. I know he got drafted, and that's like the last I could tell you about him.
He had an interview that was overseas. It was pretty sad. I felt bad for him.
Yeah,
he wants to play in the NBA, so because he's young still. Like
Yeah.
he's like, he can't be. There's no way he's 30. I mean, he got drafted because he was young when he came out.
You want to try him here? Like this is 100% shot in the dark on you. I don't.
I have that. You know how I get the hunch when like you find your guys who you play 2K with. I have that hunch here right now. I think Jabari Parker played on Boston.
Okay. Damn.
Bam. Let's go.
That
All
right. 57%. 7 people work for that. Jason Tatum, Jabari Parker, Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Wait, they don't even show. Wait.
Oh, they don't show everybody else who does?
No, they don't even. No. This isn't right. I think this is just people drafted by the Celtics.
Oh, Jabari Parker get drafted by the Celtics?
No, that's what I mean. But they didn't even have Jabari Parker on here at first. But now,
okay,
it was weird. The way they had it was funky. And then 3 guys that I just have never heard of.
Jabari Parker played 12 games, or he played twice in Boston. He played 10 games for Boston in 2020-21 after he signed a 10-day with the Kings. And then he played 12 games for the Celtics as well in 2021-22. And he's been overseas since. So, all right. All right. You want to scroll down, see the most popular answers are?
Sure. There's a decent amount of Duke players with over 5 assists per game. Oh, sorry. Show summary.
Yeah, so we'll go back to, all right, so most popular, wow, few repeats. All right, so most popular for Celtics for Clippers and Pistons is Blake Griffin. For Celtics and Pistons, it is also Blake Griffin. For Pistons, 5 assists per game, Isaiah Thomas. That's crazy. We didn't bring up Isaiah Thomas at all. He's like the greatest player in franchise history. For Clippers and Raptors, Kawhi Leonard. For Celtics and Raptors, it was Kelly Olynyk. That's crazy. And Kyle Lowry for Raptors and 5 assists per game per season. For Duke and Clippers, it was JJ Redick. For Duke and Celtics, it was Jason Tatum. And for Duke and 5 assists per game, it was Kyrie Irving. If you want to go back to our grid one last time, we got for Pistons and Clippers, Boban Marjanovic. For Pistons and Celtics, Greg Monroe. For Pistons, 5 assists per game, Reggie Jackson. For Raptors and Clippers, Hedo Turkoglu. For Raptors and Celtics, Kelly Olynyk. For Raptors, 5 assists per game per season, DeMar DeRozan. For Clippers and Duke, Luke Kennard. For Celtics and Duke, Jabari Parker. And for Duke, 5 assists per game per season, Grant Hill.
Hell yeah.
Not bad, honestly. Like, really, like, there were a few. DeRozan being there as low as he was, kind of surprising. Yeah, but pulling Kennard there was huge. I think we did a much better job on the Duke players in terms of being less chalky than I thought we would. So
yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, not bad. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Drive and Dish NBA Podcast. Appreciate you guys, as always. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. Or read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you find a podcast, you can find us.
And you can always watch the video version of the podcast, Drive and Dish NBA Podcast, on YouTube. You can also subscribe there. Similar to any other podcasting platform, you'll get notifications when new episodes are coming out.